You guys look good here. My name is Vu Ha. I was born in Saigon, Vietnam. My mother's Vietnamese and my father's Korean, so everyone thinks I'm Japanese. I mean, I'm one of those Asian guys where you just can't quite figure out what kind of Asian I am. Like the other day, I was at the store and this woman was staring at me for a long time. And she finally said, "Could you get out of my shopping cart, you weirdo?" I get that a lot. Now, it's funny because when I talk about racism towards Asians, I always have some smart ass come along and say, you know what? Asians don't have to deal with the same kind of racism that black people have to deal with. In fact, Asians only deal with what's called casual racism, which is a really weird phrase to me because when I hear someone say casual racism, I picture a person of color like myself getting attacked by a Klansman in a pair of khaki shorts and an REO Speedwagon shirt. Don't forget, everyone, every Friday is Casual Racism Friday. Hey, there's a guy out in my yard there. He's in a white sheet, pointy hood, burning crosses, but he's wearing Crocs, so it's casual racism. I know casual racism is a real thing, but getting attacked is not casual. But casual racism is more like a subtle form of racism where you don't really know you're doing it, and in doing so, you don't really feel like a racist. But here's a good example of that. I get this one a lot. When people first meet me and they realize I was born in Vietnam, they'll say, "Wow, you were born in Vietnam? Man, you speak great English, man. You don't have no accent at all." And to me, I get what they're saying, but that is a form of casual racism because when they come up to me and say, "You have no accent at all," I always just say, "Well, thank you. I actually had to struggle to overcome my strong accent I used to have. Had you met me 40 years ago, I would have sounded like this. Oi, mate, you would have no way to keep the box trying the soy sauce now, would you? What? You said I have an accent? I'm offended." But I am from Vietnam. I was born in Saigon, Vietnam, right around the tail end of the Vietnam War, and things back then were crazy. I mean, kids today, they want to complain about things, little petty things on TikTok and whatever, but man, had they been a child growing up in Vietnam, they wouldn't be complaining because in Vietnam, during war-torn Vietnam, anything you complained about was nothing compared to what was going on with the war. And your parents would use that against you. I would go up to my mom, I'd be like, "Oh, Mom, I've got a tummy ache. I don't want to go to school today." And she'd be like, "Oh, you have a tummy ache, huh? Why don't you tell your Aunt Lynn? She had no tummy. She got blown up by the bomb." Okay, I'll go to school. But it is hell. War is hell. And for the Vietnamese people, we had to deal with so much noise, so much, just the sounds, the smells, they stick in your head. I mean, you remember the smells of the jungles burning or the gunfire in the village next to you and all the screaming. For me, there's one sound that sticks in my head to this day. And when I hear it, I shudder. And that sound is Creedence Clearwater Revival's "Fortunate Son." That song would always be on when the helicopters come by. I don't know why. We'd be out in the rice field here. Down now, down now. And I'd be with my brother like, "What is that? Is that you?" "It ain't me. It ain't me." But our family, we came to America after the war ended, after our side lost, and so we were refugees here. And actually, my family actually ended up here in Northwest Arkansas. We were in Fort Chaffee and Fort Smith, just down south there. And we were terrified. I mean, we'd never left our country before, so just starting a new life in America was just terrifying. But those volunteers there, the soldiers, they were really kind to us. They taught us English. They taught us about all the opportunities we'd have here. And so we had hope. We had sunshine ahead of us, and we were ready to go. So when they opened those gates in Fort Chaffee for us to go with our sponsors, the first time we stepped out into Fort Smith, we looked around and we thought, "Oh crap, this is like Vietnam." Actually, it's worse. No, seriously though, Fort Smith actually made the transition from Vietnam to here a lot easier because, like in Vietnam, we got used to the Viet Cong burning down our huts in the villages here. The meth heads were burning their own houses. So it's like, hey, just like home. No, it's my family, we actually stayed here in Northwest Arkansas. We actually ended up in Rogers, Arkansas. Most of the other Vietnamese people left and they went to other parts of the country. But we stayed here, and during that time, there were very few Asian people in the area at all, and the white people were not used to it. So in doing so, we did have to deal with some racism, and one of the most common statements we would hear is, "Oh, all those Asians look alike." And when I'd hear that, I'd be like, "Well, dude, you're probably seeing the same ones. There's only 6 of us here." And some of them would be persistent about it. They'd want to let us know how much they hated us. I mean, there's one guy, he's the white guy, every time we saw him, he'd say that same thing. You know, we'd see him at the grocery store, he'd be like, oh, Asians look alike. And I'd see him at the gas station, he'd be like, oh, I can't tell you guys apart. And at the park, he'd be like, why do you guys look the same? And I finally said, look, dude, are you some kind of moron? Are you so simple-minded that you would lump a whole group of people together and say that we all look exactly alike? And then I realized it wasn't the same white guys last time. That one might have even been a woman, I don't know. Now, there was one time I was walking home from school. I was in my teens at the time, and I remember this big red pickup truck pulled up next to me, and in the front cab were three good old country boys. And the alpha male, he was at the front driving. He had a camouflage hat on, I think a charged mouth. And he opens the window and he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, hi there, cheeky boy. Do you speak American? Because if you don't speak American, you best go back to China where you came from." And I was shocked. I was appalled by what he said. And so I said to him, well, actually, what you want to say is, do you speak English? That's the proper way of saying that. And if you did say that, I don't believe there is a law that states that if I don't speak that language, I have to go back to the country where I came from, which in my case, I'm Vietnamese, so I would go back to Vietnam, not China. And in that case, since a chinky boy refers to a Chinese person, I am Vietnamese, the proper racial slang that you want is gook. But his response was, oh boy, he don't speak American. I don't know what any of those ching chong words were. But not all the racism was so drastically, blatantly obvious. I mean, there was the casual racism, one of the ones I dealt with a lot was in school. And my name is spelled V-U-H-A, Vuha, pronounced the way it looks. But for some strange reason, when you take that name and you put it together with this face, those letters become hieroglyphics to the teachers, and they won't even try. I remember every year, first day of school, during attendance, the teachers would do the exact same thing. They'd go through the roll call and they'd be like, okay, here we have Jenny, where are you? There you are, Jenny, good. Michelle, where are you? There you are, good. And oh no. I'm not going to say this one. I don't want to butcher it. I want to be respectful. Could you please tell me how to pronounce your name? And I was like, dude, in my head, I'm like, you're a teacher. You should know how to pronounce that. I mean, V-U can only be pronounced two ways, and one way no one does. Va? No one says va. Just try. But, you know, I would be polite. I was a polite little Asian kid, so I'd tell her how to pronounce it. By the time third grade came, I was like, you know what? My parents are paying their taxes and stuff like that. They got to go ahead and try. So the next time they did, I was like, oh, could you tell me how to pronounce your name? I'm like, oh, it's very easy, ma'am. I understand why you wouldn't know how to do it, so let me explain it to you. It's pronounced, mày muốn đãi của gì ạ? Cũng mất đãi nón bánh đu chị cửa mở ra hút gì ạ? Cũng mất đã hút nhẹ mày muốn đãi chua gì ạ? Bạc anh dâu hôn gì ra có vú. Oh, that's a really exotic name. Is there like a nickname that you prefer? Something a little easier to say, maybe shorter? And I'm like, oh yes, I don't expect you to remember that. I go by a nickname so other people can remember it. It's a lot fewer syllables. She goes, oh great, can you tell me what that is? Like, well that name is, They started trying more after that, so I didn't worry about that. Growing up in America, in the 80s, I wanted a role model because I was jealous of the other kids. I mean, all the other kids had, the white kids, they had Magnum P.I. You know, he was like this sexy guy in a Hawaiian shirt, hairy chest and mustache, riding in a helicopter. It's so cool. All the little black kids, they had Mr. T, the mohawk, the big muscles, the gold chains, Pity the Fool. I mean, that was awesome. So I wanted my role model. And I went out there and I seeked them out and I sought the only thing they gave me, which was Long Duck Dong for 16 candles. And man, did he teach me things. I mean, he taught me that when I saw a beautiful girl, I just need to go up there and go, oh, American Goldman, what's happening, hot dog? You know, it's great. During the 90s, things got better for me because you had Jet Li coming around, Jackie Chan, revival Bruce Lee movies. So people were associating martial arts with Asians. And in doing so, we were looked at as threats. And that was great for me because if I was in a situation where anyone who came up to me who wanted to kick my butt, I would just look at them and I'd go, and they would back off. Which is good because I had no idea what I was doing. No, it's fun because I wanted to be an American. I was trying to get more used to being an American, and one of the things I found in America was religion. My parents were Buddhists at the time, and when we moved to America, they said, I want you guys to have the same religion as American people, so they introduced me to Sunday school, and I started going to Sunday school. And there, I started reading the Bible. Reading it all the time. I was really into it. I really got into it, and I was like reading all the laws and all the stories. But then every once in a while, there'd be something I'd be like, what is that all about? And there's one thing that stuck in my head all these years, the laws that God gave to Moses. I mean, they're very important laws, they're very important. But there's one in particular I never quite got. And that is Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 11. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this, some of you may have read it, but the law states that if two men are fighting each other, and one of their wives steps in and interferes and grabs one of the men by their conies, she has to get her hands cut off. That is real. I'm not making that up. You can look it up later. Why is that in the Bible? Why is that even a law? I mean, was that happening so much that God had to go, yeah, I got to put a stop to this? I mean, that's one theory, but I have another theory as to why that law exists. If you are familiar with that story, God took Moses up to Mount Sinai for 40 days. 40 days! And he dictated all of these laws, just hundreds and hundreds of laws. And Moses had to write them all down. He was like busy writing them all down. I have a feeling that right around, say, day 35, God was probably thinking, I don't know if Moses is really paying attention anymore. I mean, he's a good guy. I know he's a good guy. He did a lot of work for me, but he's got to not be paying attention. I don't know what he's doodling over there, but he doesn't look like he's really paying attention. I need to throw in a fake law, something so ridiculous that if he really is listening, he's going to call me out on it. And that's what I'm going to do to test him. So that's what God did. He's like, okay, Moses, let's keep going. You had a break. Let's get back to it. Thou shalt not steal. You write that one down. Good. Thou shalt not kill. That one's pretty cool because it rhymes. That's pretty good. You write that down. And if two people are fighting and the wife steps in and gets in the way, you got to cut off her hands. Oh, he is not paying attention because he didn't even flinch. He didn't even flinch. He is so not listening. Oh, I'm so going to get him later. He's going to strike a rock or something. I'm going to not let him in the promised land for some arbitrary reason or something like that. But, a few hundred years later, God got his first print copy of the Bible, the Old Testament, got it in the mail, he pulled it out, and he's like, ooh, that new Bible leather smell, and he's like flipping through it, all the gold lining, it looks so good. Let's take a look at this here. Oh, yep, there's Genesis, that's pretty good. Genesis, Leviticus, oh yeah, Numbers is really good, Deuteronomy. Oh, Moses was so paying attention that day. It's in there. They grabbing the cojones laws in my Bible. What do I do? You know, I'm just going to write a New Testament. Thank you guys, my name is Boo Ha.